As we approach International Holocaust Remembrance Day tomorrow, we remember and never forget the 6 million Jews murdered by the Nazis.
And new tonight, in a special Full Circle report, ABC Action News reporter Michael Paluska sits down with survivors and their family members. And our Anthony Hill actually dives deeper into recent genocides and the people fighting to stop them.
I had a false birth certificate with my new name, which was Marisha. My entire history changed because it was all there on that piece of paper that was false.
The other problem was being able to play the role. You know, it's like if you're trying to infiltrate the mafia, right?
Married 63 years, Tony and John Rindy took on aliases, acted and lied their way out of certain death and into the lives they now lead today. Both are Holocaust survivors that found each other after the war, but in their home city in Poland as children, they had to do whatever they could to save their lives.
We had to play the role to the hilt and be careful not to spill the beans by accident.
Tony was around 2 years old when her parents gave her away. The woman in this photo, her rescuer, hiding her from the Nazis.
She acted as if I was her niece. And I was not Jewish. I became a very nice, good little Catholic girl. Said my prayers every evening and prayed for the safe return of my parents.
And that saved your life?
That saved my life. Children were being killed. We were useless. And we were Jewish, and that's a double whammy. At that age, nobody wanted to save a child.
At the Florida Holocaust Museum, we sat down with 4 members of the same family, 2 survivors, Tony and John, along with Tony's brother Stephen Eagle and Stephen's son, Michael Eagle, the board chair of the museum.
My grandparents used to always say to us, my brother and me, you know, it was the worst in humanity, but you must remember and teach people that it was also the best in humanity.
Michael knows he is lucky his grandparents survived so many close calls as they bounced from farmhouse to farmhouse, hiding from the Germans, people helping them, targeted by the Nazis.
Ordinary husband and wife, I always say, only on paper, tortured for 6 weeks and ultimately executed, and they never gave up my grandparents.
What did you take away from her story as you were growing up?
How difficult it must have been for a parent to give away their child.
The lessons of the Holocaust are brutal, but unless you hear them and speak to someone like me who survived that Holocaust, you can't fully appreciate the horror, the pain, and the agony that's caused.
Holocaust survivors have repeated these horrific stories hundreds of times, trying to make it clear that hate has no place in this world. But as my colleague Anthony Hill picks up this story, he shows us how people are trying to find solutions to the problems facing humanity today.
You know, Mike, genocides have been taking place since the beginning of time, and many believe it's only through education we can start to battle the hate and the disinformation that fuels these atrocities.
I was born in 1942 in Harlem, the Netherlands.
Louise Lawrence-Israëls still remembers life under Nazi control.
If my mom had been sent to a camp with her 2 little children, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Afraid for their lives, Louisa's father moved his family into the attic of a stranger who sympathized with the Jewish minority.
They acted like it was a normal thing to live in an attic, sometimes to be hungry, in the winter to be cold.
The first time Louisa would ever experience life outside of the attic was when she was 3 years old.
We were liberated by the Canadian Army, and we had to go outside for the first time. It was a world we didn't know.
Naomi Kikoler is the director of the Simon Scott Center for the Prevention of Genocide.
Individuals are not born innately hating each other. There is an effort that is undertaken to try to dehumanize communities. Hate speech, dehumanization, misinformation played a critical role in creating an environment in which genocide could take place.
The Nazis used film, radio, and posters to normalize anti-Semitism. They spread fear and hate of the Jewish people to the masses. 6 million Jews and millions of others were slaughtered. In 1994, in Rwanda, the Hutus constantly aired disinformation via radio about the Tutsis. As many as 800,000 Tutsis, men, women, and children, were murdered. A number of genocides have taken place just over the past century. Currently, there's one in Burma, where thousands of Rohingya Muslims have been killed.
We could see like a lot of misinformations and disinformations about Rohingya being outsiders.
Weiwei News survived the Rohingya genocide. She says a disinformation campaign by political and religious leaders has swayed public opinion about the ethnic minority group.
Like they're dirty, they're ugly, they are a threat to national security.
Scholars who study genocides say the most powerful weapon against disinformation campaigns is education. That's why every Tuesday night, Rabbi Mindy Dubrowski teaches a course about Judaism at the Chabad Synagogue in South Tampa, and everyone's invited.
All citizens owe it to themselves and their families to get educated.
And if you'd like to learn more information about the Holocaust and other genocides that have taken place over the past century, I've posted more information on our website. That's abcactionnews.com. In Sarasota, I'm in-depth reporter Anthony Hill, ABC Action News.